Bruce, I know you just saw the Cincinnati team last week in the Open Cup, but kind of a rotated side. So how different are you anticipating Cincinnati to look on Saturday?
It'll be very different. They'll have, I would think, 8 new players on the field from the team we saw a couple weeks ago.
Next, we go to Seth McConnell from SB Nation. He'll be followed up by Tom Quillen. Seth, you're unmuted now.
Hi, Bruce. Thanks for taking the time. The primary transfer window has closed. Early in the transfer window, you went domestic. Later on, you added some international players. Was that a strategy that you had, and how do you feel about your current team now that everyone is at practice?
I think we're prepared to have a good last 2/3 of the season. I think we're through with close to, I guess we're around 1/3 of the season now. So I think we're well positioned to move forward and hopefully win a lot more games.
Next, we'll go to Tom Quillen from WPRO. He'll be followed up by Ronald Blum from the Associated Press. Tom, you're unmuted now.
Hey, good afternoon, Coach. Good to see you. I know today's not that great out, but for the most part, would you say this is, weather-wise, has been the most cooperative week for training for you guys?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I think last week was okay, but we're starting to clearly get better weather in New England, and that certainly helps us. But the last couple of weeks have been good.
Right, next, we'll go to Ronald Blum from the Associated Press. He'll be followed up by Jamie Rook. Ronald, you're unmuted now.
Hey, Bruce, looking ahead with Clint's induction in the Hall of Fame this weekend.
With who? Clint Dempsey? Yes. Okay.
Yeah. In your mind, from his start of his career till then watching him at the end when you had him with the U.S. national team, how did he change and develop as a player going from mid to forward and more attacking? And what sticks out to you and what his personality contributed to the teams he was on?
Well, personality-wise, Clint is different. And I think Clint would tell you this. He played with a chip on his shoulder. He wasn't out to make friends. He was out to be a good player and score goals, and he did that. And he was never afraid to deal with a challenge. His move to Europe was one in which he proved to be highly successful, as we know. His tenure with the national team was simply outstanding. Even in his last year with me, scored some big goals in the Gold Cup, was a big part of the qualifying process, even towards the end of his career. So he was a pretty focused guy in terms of what he wanted to accomplish individually. He was a great goal scorer. His goal, if I can recall, against Ghana in the 2006 World Cup, and again, I could be wrong about this, was simply outstanding. And he scored great goals in his career and was just a really competitive guy in the field, and had a great career. And I'm pleased that he has the opportunity to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Tom Quillen from WPRO. He'll be followed up by Sam Mitten. Tom, you're unmuted now.
Coach, just your thoughts on the way Adam's playing right now. I think it's 6 goals in 8 games for him. And we know that there was interest for Adam during the offseason, but do you think with the performance that he's been putting in, that interest is going to continue to grow as we head into the summer?
Yeah, well, first of all, he's playing well. He scored an unbelievable goal for the first goal in Atlanta. And not that the second one wasn't a great goal, but 2 goals with his feet, which has been unusual this year. So a real plus for him. He's getting better. There continues to be interest for him, and I'm sure that we will be sorting out a variety of offers over the next couple of weeks or so for the transfer window in Europe. So, we'll have to wait and see what happens with those type of offers and whether we'll accept them, whatever. But he's sought after, and, obviously his stints with the Polish national team are helpful, and he'll likely be playing in a World Cup. So he's going to attract some interest.
We'll take two more questions. First, we'll go to Sam Mitten from SB Nation, and we'll wrap up with Jamie Rook. Sam, you're on.
Hello, Bruce. Thank you for taking time to speak with us. I just wanted to ask about Gustavo Bo and Dylan Barrero. How are they looking in practice, and could they possibly get minutes this weekend?
They've looked good in practice, so it's nice to have Gustavo back on the field. It's still early for him. He's been away a long time, so his ability to play extended minutes is obviously limited, as it is with Dylan. And we'll make a decision tomorrow if they're part of our travel squad.
For our last question, we'll go to Jamie Rook from Last Word on Sports. Jamie, you're unmuted.
Hi, Bruce. How will your team selection be affected this weekend given the upcoming Open Cup game in midweek?
Well, I think our focus is on the Cincinnati game. And once we're done with that, we'll decide on our approach for the Open Cup game. Not that we haven't talked about it, but there's obviously going to be changes for that game. We're going to be playing in a difficult venue in New York. We know that. So that'll be challenging. And then we need to turn around real quick and be prepared for Philadelphia. So there's certainly going to be changes with 3 games in 8 days.